Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So, Skyline Valley is fairly newly arrived, and of course with it we have a whole new region in which to build our camps. And yeah, this place is absolutely chock full of really cool spots to build in, so shall we have a look at 5 very cool ones to kick things off? Okay, spot number 1, we have a very nice little island here. This is actually where I have built quite recently, so I'll throw a link to that video up if you want to check it out. It's a pretty cool spot, just a little bit smaller than the build area in terms of its width at the widest point, and obviously considerably longer, but quite cool. Over on the map here, as we see, it is right over on the eastern side of Skyline Valley. In fact, we'll be staying on the eastern side today entirely, as, well, there's a lot of places to touch on, really. So yeah, you can see on the map, we've got an island in this creek here, and that is exactly where we are, right in the middle of that one. And my camp is here currently. So I quite like this place. I spotted this initially during the test server run for Skyline Valley and just came over, had a look, and was like, yeah, really have to. It's nice, it's flat, it's got some nice little kind of woodland vibe, but not too much of it, if that's what you're going for. You've got obviously the water all the way around. Doesn't prevent anybody crossing, of course, but it gives that kind of moat vibe. And depending on how much of the water you want in your camp or not, you can move up and down the island as well, depending where you exactly want to position your camp. And build something around that if you want to. It's quite pretty, I do like it. There's a decent number of the smaller trees that are bulldozable. Some of the bigger ones are not, so need to factor those into a build, but definitely creates a nice environment. A couple of points worth noting, beavers always running around the place, you'll see a couple of them down there. Over towards the top there, there's usually sort of a random encounter, usually a couple of enemy groups fighting each other. They don't tend to spill down to the island too often. But when you spawn into a camp here, you will need to defend it. So, yeah, all in all, it's a nice little spot, right in the middle of the little creek here. It looks good, it's pretty flat, really good spot to build in, and definitely a favourite of mine. But if you're going to build here, give me a couple of days to move on, as I am currently living here myself. So, on to the next one. Okay, spot number 2 here. Kind of just about in Skyline Valley. I mean, it wasn't here before the update, so there is that. But it's got a bit of a different vibe to it as well. It's definitely got more of a Savage Divide look. And yeah, this is quite striking. It's also very close to where we just were. And I spotted this, wandered over, and thought, well, it's different, so why not? This is where we are on the map, as you can see, just pretty much a touch over to the east from the island we were on before. Kind of on the edge of what arguably is the Cranberry Bog, although it looks way more like the Savage Divide. I think if we keep going a little bit further to the east, we'll actually hit the edge of the map. But still, it's an interesting spot. The slight seam down there notwithstanding, this kind of gives a really cool desert vibe, I think. I know there's a lot of trees and stuff, so that kind of counteracts that a bit. But when you get down on the ground, it's actually quite a large open space in the middle there with not much in the way of living foliage going on. It's got that very kind of grey, dusty, brown vibe that works well for either a desert-type build. If you wanted to do something Wild West themed, for example, it's really got a good colour palette for that as well down here. And as I say, just off from Skyline Valley, you can actually see over in the background there the island that we were just having a look at, so not a bad spot. Stretching the definition perhaps of Skyline Valley a little bit here, but on the other hand, it's a new area, so why not? Not so everybody's taste, probably won't suit every build, being as it's very brown. But I do like it. I think a few of these trees are probably bulldoze, smaller ones in particular, and their little rock formations and stuff as well, so not too bad if you want to build. It's pretty flat down there again, so that also helps out, and yeah, definitely a different vibed sort of location. Okay, spot number 3. So back into Skyline Valley proper here, heading a little bit further south, and this place is much more densely forested, as you can see. I quite like this spot. It's a little off the beaten path. It's a bit more out of the way. And there's not a great deal going on here, apart from a bunch of radstags, whose remains you can probably see glowing amongst the trees. Let's have a little look at where we are. So, there's the map. As you can see, we've moved a little bit further south. We're staying over here on the eastern side of the map. The edge of the map kind of is a little bit over there. It's not really square anymore. I noticed while I was exploring around, so not a bad spot. It's kind of on a hill here. There's quite a lot of fall off from this spot, but it's pretty cool. There's some nice flat ground on the top and a couple of cool spots sort of in this little area. Obviously, you can get in and amongst the trees and build something kind of small that works with that. Some of the smaller trees might be bulldozable, but most of them I think won't be, so definitely requiring a small, compact camp, I think, this. I do like the vibe, though. It's got that nice kind of coniferous forest. Obviously, the trees are a little bit on the dead side, but it's a bit more colourful, a little bit. And, as I say, right out of the way, really cool area. It's actually quite flat under here. There's a couple of fairly flat bits. The views are pretty spectacular, too. So, if you wanted to build sort of a small house, which I generally recommend doing anyway, that kind of thing. Small camps you can decorate more thoroughly. Generally ends up looking better with the building system in 76. This is quite a fun place for it. I suspect I shall be building here before too much longer. We also have that big rock in the background that you can see there, and that is fairly flat on top as well. So if you wanted to work something out up there, you probably could do. And you'll have an amazing view up over the Cranberry Bog and towards Watoga from up there. And there's also a couple of spots right at the bottom of the rock where there's flat ground that's relatively open as well. So you could definitely build there and sort of use that as a backdrop or something, which would work quite nicely too. Yeah, all in all, this is a nice kind of forested vibe down on the edge of Skyline Valley that won't get too much traffic or too much trouble, and is definitely quite a nice little spot. But yeah, I think one that leans towards a smaller type camp style. And of course, if you're into being a carnivore and keep Radstag on the go for your food needs, this is a good place for that because they always seem to spawn here. So helpful in that regard as well. So, spot number 4. This is kind of a 2-for-1 special with a few other bits tacked on in a way. We're down here on this little beach, and I quite like this spot. It's surprising how close to a marked location you can actually get in Skyline Valley with places to build. Obviously, there are areas where you can't if you're getting too close, but you can get closer than you'd think. So there is my camp icon. It's actually a little further south of where we actually are. This is where the map starts to get a bit weird, but nonetheless, we're sort of around on the northeast corner of the lake here. You can see we've got a nice little flat area there. Colours are getting really vibrant down here, which is great if that's what you're into. It's not properly flat, there's a bit of a slope to this, but nonetheless it comes down to the water's edge and is quite nice. It's kind of a footpath there. Also, back amongst the trees, there is a lot of little flat spots under the really, really colourful trees that you can build in. That's true of this whole southeastern corner. And there's a lot of little spots that are quite flat with little interesting vibes. So of course, if you get busy down there with a really complex camp, you might run into frame rate issues because there's a lot of detail, but still. The other cool thing about this is this island here. You can build on that island. Fair warning though, there is a bear that spawns there, and it spawns there every time, so you may have to do that every time you log into your camp. You'll have to watch out for that, but you can build on the island should you want to. It's sort of tacked on to this marked location in the background here, that I'm not going to go into too many details in case people haven't explored it yet. But kind of on the edge of a marked location, but if you're happy to deal with the Yagwai, there is an option for you. Personally, I'd probably stay on the beach this side and sort of get a little beachfront home going on, something like that would be quite nice. Yeah, quite a cool little spot with some really, really nice vibrant colours. Speaking of nice spots with vibrant colours, here we have a nice little island. This one is really, really small, so we've kind of got 3 islands on the go here of varying sizes and locations. This is very small, so you will really need something microscopic in your camp build for this one. Just have a look on the map again. Right around the corner here, just around from the camp there. You can hardly see it, so I'll zoom in a second, but it is basically in this river here. And this whole kind of area down here has got a lot of spots that are flat as well. This whole southeastern corner is worth exploring if you're looking for somewhere to build. There are random encounters that spawn out there. There's the island for you. But it is quite a cool little spot. Hard to see the island from this angle, I realise, because, you know, trees, there's a lot of them. But you get the vibe of the area quite effectively in that way, so there is that. Shout out to Rob, one of the community managers at Bethesda. His post a few days ago on Twitter was the instigation for finding this spot for me. So he's probably going to be quite sad if people move into his camping spot, but it's also kind of a cool eye-catching spot, so I suspect it's probably happened already. But yeah, very small, nice little spot in the water there. As we can kind of see, Liberators have wandered over and decided to take pot shots at me, but what can you do? There are also, as I say, a number of other spots just on the banks of this river and sort of further to the south where the ground starts to climb up again that make for really, really cool locations to build in as well. So, again, worth having a little look around here. There's some fun unmarked locations in this bottom corner of the map that are worth having a poke around, some of which you can build on, of course. So, yeah, definitely a colourful, vivid area, and in this particular case, given towards a very, very small, compact camp. I think you can squeeze everything you need onto that island if you want to and make it look cool, but you'll not have a vast amount of room left. But if that's your thing, there you go. So there we go, 5 really cool little camp spots down in Skyline Valley. We've just stuck to the eastern side of the area on this occasion, but there's a whole lot left of this region still to explore and to pull cool camps out of, so keep an eye out there for future videos. If you did like this one, please do consider dropping subs and likes, very much appreciate. Down below we've got social media links, merch store, channel memberships, all that good stuff if you'd like to support the channel that way. Hugely appreciate that, really helps out. And if you get a chance, do join us for live streams as well. We are, of course, playing Fallout 76. We've got some Fallout 4 on the go as well. And we've got some other bits and pieces on the live streaming front as well. So if you're looking for something to watch, then do check it out. But for now, thank you very much for watching. And I look forward to speaking to you all very soon.